got daggone heat. You know what, family? Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation Show. Boom, boom, boom. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation Show. I might have to do this over here just to think about it. Boom, boom, boom. I might have to put in my other Facebook page over here, Dr. David Daniels, since you have a tendency of going over to that platform, and I'll be trying to tell you, whenever you text me from there to comment with me, I can't read your comment unless you come on my Stephen Copeland 909 at Yahoo page, because I can't see your comments, and I don't ever want you to think, my brother, that I'm avoiding you when you make a comment over there. I just can't see it, at least until I get off of this. But I know some of y'all care. I know some of y'all don't care, and that's fine too, because and by me saying that, right, when I say some care and some don't care, because y'all know who I am, basically mainly in Baltimore City. Y'all know who I am. Y'all know a lot of the stuff that, not just myself. So if you hear me say I, it's okay. Okay? It's okay. Because when you, or I'm going to say God, had worked with you, and you mustered up the courage and the confidence to actually go back out and be a messenger. And I understand y'all looking for a person. If a person say use accolades, right, like certain things, y'all love looking at it in a negative way. And it goes to show me where your heart and where your mind is really at, right? Because once you realize the courage and the confidence that it actually take to speak against the norm, then you'll understand where I'm coming from. You'll understand why when I say right? If it wasn't from me humbling myself to allow God to use me, I had to humble myself for him to mold me and shape me and make me out to be the man that he wants me to be. When it comes to encouraging and motivating, empowering, and the multitude. I pick with a lot of y'all when I say this, because I say things like, do y'all really realize the balls that it takes to actually speak against the norm? Mainly when you know you're dealing with people or organizations that don't want to see us succeed in the Black community. You get me? So I can only share with y'all from a personal level of experience, not based around my opinion, not based around what I think, not based around how I feel. I try to share, and I didn't even like that word saying try. My experience, my strengths, and my hopes. This is what a lot of the old timers, when I came into Narcotics Anonymous, taught me how to change my old ways of thinking, right? Or I was going to continue practicing the same behaviors. So I had to learn to live a new way of life. I had to learn to change people, places, and things. Because 9 times out of 10, if you keep hanging around the same people, if you keep going to the same places, if you keep going to the same, like communities, neighborhood clubs, you're going to continue doing the same things. That's mainly if it's destructive. If it's tearing your life apart. This is mainly what I'm talking about. The stuff that makes your life unmanageable and irresponsible. And because some of us is so used to it, we're not willing to do the necessary work to change those behaviors. So anytime Steve Copeland come on the Couch Talk Show, this is the way I promote, strengthen the community. The LaTonya D. Copeland House of Hope. This is the way I promote and I advertise my LLC. When I come on the Couch Talk Show as a man that sponsors men and women and helping them put their lives back together, this is the way I advertise the work that I do in Baltimore City. When I come on here, if you hear me talk about the LaTonya D. Copeland House of Hope Foundation, I am talking about the temporary to permanent housing program, where I work with the homeless and the less fortunate population. And I know for a fact, if that's not where your heart and that's not where your mind is at towards helping to better the communities, then you won't understand where I'm coming from. You won't. And I can't blame you, because that's not where your heart, that's not where your mind is at when it comes to educating our people. When it comes to helping that ex-offender or that returning citizen or that ex-felon to understand that you can become a productive member back into society. See, a lot of y'all don't care about that because it's not you. Those aren't the issues that's kind of blocking you from getting a decent job or a house or an apartment. That's stopping you from earning a healthy lifestyle. And I'm talking about somebody, even though I came out of school, right, in the 10th grade, have a 9th grade education, right? That don't mean you can't be successful in life. But it's a lot of people that will tear you down and make you think you'll never accomplish nothing in life. That's not how Steve Copeland rolled. That's not how Steve Copeland rolled. And when y'all hear me say certain things out my mouth, right, it's my own people. It's my own people that fights people like me and trying to encourage and motivate us to be a better group of people. We steady cut each other down, and y'all all right with that. Y'all all right with that. But see, the thing that gets me when we do that, right? When I hear us talk about the white man this and the white man that and the white man this and the white man that, right? It's normally us that's turned each other down. And the system already know that. They already know it's the black race that's cutting the black race down because we don't know how to come together. We don't know how to unify. They already know. And we prove them right each and every time when we come up against each other the way we're doing. You got the women that's degrading the other, you got women degrading women. You got men degrading women. You know, women degrading men, men degrading women, and then women will turn around. Y'all so hardcore on the women might be coming for the men, right? And then as soon as a woman say something, you turn around and you go against them too. It's like, make up your mind. Make up your mind. What is it? And it goes to show me, right? Because I try not to flip-flop on none of y'all. Whoever platforms I'm on, watch me. You don't hear me go, and the men this, and the women that, and the blah, 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 and the blah, blah, blah. Y'all do not hear me do that. And a lot of platforms I come up on, right, and it's only a few, a lot of times they don't want to hear Uncle Steve. Know why they don't want to hear Uncle Steve? Because they know 9 times out of 10, he going to bring a balance. He going to throw something positive in there. So they cut me off quick. But the moment somebody coming up bashing each other, degrading each other, they will let them talk for the longest time to discredit each other. And know what I do? I just sit there and watch it. I sit there and watch it. Nowhere in the world. And I'm going to say this. This is the Couch Talk Show. Nowhere in the world you're going to come up here and disrespect my show. I get ready to say my live, right? But all that right there. You will not do it. If you feel as though you need to come up here and you want to be disrespectful towards other people that might be here, when they do come, you're going to get dropped. You will not disrespect my panel. That's like you coming into my house. And I shared this the other day. That's like you coming into my house and disrespecting my house. I'm not asking y'all to tap the screen. I'm not asking y'all to gift me. I'm not asking y'all to do all that type of stuff because I try to tell y'all mine is different from most other platforms. If you tap the screen, thank you. If you gift the host and if you gift the panel, thank you. I appreciate it. But you're not obligated to do it. I'm going to make money either way it goes. I'm going to make money. I don't have to use right our pain and misery amongst each other to fatten up my pocket. I don't have to do that. When I come on, y'all know 9 times out of 10 it's going to be business. It's going to be educational. Do y'all know how hard it is, right? And I'm talking about TikTok Baltimore. Do y'all know how hard it is to go up on a decent platform and to leave off being spiritually balanced? I know y'all don't know. Because I realize a lot of y'all love the chaos and the confusion. It's like it makes you feel kind of whole. It makes you feel complete. That's not where a lot of us is at. We want to conversate. We want to communicate just like anybody else. Mainly if a person has a good topic, right? And we want to expound on the topic. But y'all starting to make me wonder now, and I'm talking about on TikTok, right? Y'all making me wonder, Do y'all really want to hear the truth? The ones on TikTok that's hosting these panels? Or do you just want to continue making the community sick? You got to ask yourself. Because I'm going to tell y'all, if I did a lot of the stuff over here that I see on TikTok just to gain a profit off of other people pain and misery, I feel like the Holy Spirit will eat me up. I'm just saying me. And if this how you feel, and if that's like a business for you, and that's how you want to, you know, create your business, and what they say, get the algorithm up and all that type of stuff, because it brings you, you know, money in. If that's what you want to do, and you want to allow people up where the more toxic they are, the higher your numbers go, not realizing mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, you are degrading your own people. And anytime you hear me say, I do not, and it's not for me to disrespect any woman and talk down to you, talk mean to you, talk nasty to you, but if you come for me, you're going to trigger something in me. Because if you feel like I need to shut up and let you mentally, emotionally, and verbally abuse me, I'm going to rear up. That wall going to come up. That defense mechanism going to come up. Don't y'all ever tell me, oh, don't pay attention. Oh, don't listen. You're not going to tell me shut up while you turn around and mentally, verbally, emotionally abuse me. I've been through that. So it's a red flag for me. And I'm not trying to be smart. I was on a platform. This person came up. I don't even know that person. Don't even fellowship with that person. We're never on like other platforms together. When I come on your platform, you the host. You the host. When I come on your platform to support you, I'm not for all that other stuff. I'm not for it. That's why a lot of times I'll mute up and I'll stay muted, because I'm not for the chaos and the confusion. Whatever I experienced in my past, right? I'm talking about like relationships. And it's not to point the fingers at them. Because every time y'all know I talk about Steve Copeland and what he did. I might share a little bit about why, not to blame it at the person, but why I did what I did. But guess what? The person still didn't deserve for me to step outside the marriage. That's the whole thing y'all miss. It will fly right over y'all intellectual heads. Just because a man or woman might step out, right? You might feel like you're not doing your job. If you know what you're doing as a human being, to because you can only give back what's in here, family. But when you know you giving your 100, sometimes people don't deserve what we're giving them. And I had to learn that everybody don't deserve your love. I had to learn that. So I can't get mad, right? Because I'm sitting up here and I'm giving myself to somebody that don't really appreciate me, right? That's me. You just lost out on a good person, a great person, because you might not recognize it, right? So these are things that I had to learn and I had to look at, right? When it come to myself, it ain't about you. What's up? What's up? The destruction of our voices and words through cognitive diagnosis. I mean, I'm sorry, this non-sensation. Come on, Dante, you didn't threw them big words on me. By lack of education. I got you, Dante. I know what you're basically saying. A lack of unity and a lack of understanding of our personal and professional dignity. And thank you, Dante, for them words that you use as far as saying as a lack of understanding of our personal and professional dignity. That's why I always talk about learning to love yourself, learning. I talk about the morals, the values, the principles, right? Dante put it in a more professional way. But I'll talk about like the spiritual principles of morals, values, principles, right? Your integrity as a human being. And as I was saying that, Dante, it took me back to the old statement, right? And it's not just for the men, it's for the individuals, period. If a person don't know where they came from, they won't know where they're going. You will still be lost in life. But to make it a little bit more deeper, right? If you don't understand the quality, the integrity of yourself, and I'm talking about the morals, values, the principles of being like a loving, caring, kind, considerate human being. And see, I share that, right, because I'm talking about the characteristics. Not only do I use those words, right, I might say, because I don't know about y'all, but I realize this, Dante. I'm a loving, caring, kind, considerate person. But I have another side of me too, which makes up the human being as a whole. I can be a rotten, no good son of a sea biscuit. Because I used to be like that. And the reason why I say that, in other words, if we want to put it, there's an evil side of us and there's a good side of us. Just to break it down. But now, it's the good qualities that I work in letting shine out the most. Because I already know what being that line manipulating, no good, crut ball, I know what I gained from it, nothing. So now that, I'm matured now, I'm a lot older now, a lot of the stuff that I used to do as a child, I just don't do no more. We can find great words for it too, Dante, like I repented. God delivered me from. See, we can find words to make you think that I'm above those circumstances, right? Or those type of behaviors. No. I'm gonna put it like this. They just arrested a day at a time. Just for today. I choose to be a loving, caring, kind, considerate person. But if you piss me off, I can become that rotten no good. That's called the defense mechanism. Whenever you do something to try to tear me down, that's like you coming at me to hurt me physically. If you come for me mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, do you expect for me just to sit there and allow you to just do this to me? I don't care who you is. Me and the Jewish guy down the building got into a Devin because Dante, because he thought just because he owned the property, he's a millionaire and all that, he felt like he could talk down to me. I'm like, no, you won't. No, you won't. Whatever type of money you got do not faze me. That's y'all that put people above you in whatever financial status they in. They're human just like you. And he got mad and walked away because he knew he couldn't tear me down. One, I'm going to stop you. Not here. See, y'all don't mind, right? When a person come to you of power and authority, right? And I have to catch myself when it comes to the police too. Because if you come to me, if I'm dealing with an officer, and I feel like you trying to exert your power over me, I have to catch myself. Because yes, you in position to just about do anything to me. As far as charges wise, I had it happen. So when it comes to certain things, yes, I would have to back up. Because I know me in my mouth. So sometimes, like y'all be saying stuff like, just silence is the key and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it is. But sometimes that's a tough key to practice or to use. It's tough when you know somebody just because they seem to be a little bit more superior than you because of their material status, to humble yourself. And Dante, I just read the rest of what you wrote right there, right? He said we must stop allowing the arrogance, right? And the emotional decadence to take over. In 2025, we need to have and display mental, emotional, and spiritual maturity. And that's why when I say certain things, Dante, about morals, values, and principles, right? The point of me saying it is to help people understand it's okay to recognize and identify with these feelings and emotions. The goal is to help people understand you don't have to act out on it. And my thing is in a physical, destructive way that will cause you, I like to say, to be behind bars. It's okay to express yourself, but try not to do it in a destructive way. And a lot of people think, Dante, because my voice, I rares up. That's just like ministry for me. And I'm not going to keep explaining myself to people. I'm not. If you don't get it, you don't get it. I'm no different than your preacher. I'm no different than your pastor. It's just or your other deacons. It's just in my case, my voice is my biggest weapon for the body of Christ, for the ministry. I get loud. My voice. So the reason why I'm saying that, my pastor or my bishop, he teaches. He don't preach, he don't hoop, he don't holler, he don't do none of that. But he teaches. And he breaks it down and make the word so plain and simple. Because of where I'm at in the community. And I be trying to tell y'all, right? That's why I know a lot of y'all don't know the mission and the journey of Christ. When the multitude began to follow Christ, Christ had to go in places where his voice would echo out to the crowd. They didn't have bows back then or mics and stuff like that. That's why I understand, and it's not to put nobody down. I understand that y'all, a lot of y'all talk a good game, but you don't understand what was his purpose. And from what I was taught, he came for the lost generation. Now, if we want to go back to the Old Testament, and I'm only doing this because of a Hebrew Israelite told me, that Christ only came for them, to redeem them back to the Father. I'm like, no, he didn't. But now he did come to redeem them back. But somewhere it switched over to all that believed in him. Not just the Israelites itself, but to the lost. They was lost. They was his lost generation of people. And they kept turning their backs on him, no matter how he moved them out of salvation, or just say that state of mind they was in. He would forgive them, start teaching them other stuff, and they would turn around and go get, and I'm talking about in the Old Testament, the Israelites. And they would start doing a lot of the old stuff they was doing at first that enslaved them. Listen to what I'm saying. I said enslaved them. So a lot of times, where are you enslaved at? Here, the mindset. Where you're being depressed at. The mindset. I know that we read scripture and we look at the bondage. Not just the physical bondage, but the mindset. This what a lot of your organized religion try to do today. And this is what your politics tries to do today. Keep us enslaved and oppressed. The system. Now understand this, I did not see a lot of this early on when I was new in my walk in the ministry. And a lot of times, because we're so closed-minded, right? Because we're set in our ways, we hear what people are saying, but we're not listening with the spirit. That's how I know a lot of times. I know y'all hear me. I know y'all hear what I say. I know it. That's what you have ears for. But you're not resonating with my spirit. And I didn't understand that for a while. I opened up my mouth. My words are so plain and simple. But then on top of that, guess what? You hear what I say, and I tell y'all this, watch what I do. Watch what I do. Because my actions speak louder than anything I can say out my mouth. Y'all will watch what I do to help our community, because this is a mission. This is a journey. Y'all will watch what I do as much as I say out my mouth, and you still will turn around and criticize everything. Then the ones that's actually robbing and stealing and taking from our people, y'all will give the utmost praise. And knowing what they're doing. I try not to do that. And be honest, I'm trying not to call people out. Because y'all know at one point, Baltimore City, y'all know I would put names with the stuff I was talking about. So I had to learn that everybody have a purpose in life. For everything that's happening in life has its purpose. Now on lately, I've been hearing stuff about AB, right? I've been hearing a lot about ABs. And I do believe deep down in my heart, a woman has the right to do what she wants with her body. That's her body. The same with me as a man, right? This is my body. And whatever I choose to do with this body is my business. Thank you. And all this stuff that I'm saying, right? I had to start looking at self, right, Dante? Because what we have a tendency of doing, right, we'll take the word and we will apply the word to everybody else's life. But now, for me, it's personal. And I seen what you just put. Wait a minute. For me, it's personal. Hey, Smile. For me, my journey is personal with just me and God, right? And this is just how things started happening over the years, Smile. I can read the Bible. I can read scripture. And I can tell everybody else what the word says and how you're supposed to live your life, right? But am I actually living what I tell other people? So what I begin to understand, Dante, when it comes to me reading and studying the Bible, that's God's way of talking to me. So when you look at the 10 Commandments, did y'all forget about the 5 books of Moses? Instructions on how God wants us to live our lives. And it simply tell you stuff like this. A man shouldn't lie with another man as he would lie with a woman. Now, that might not resonate with everybody, but I understand he's telling me. I understand when he said, don't sleep with your neighbor's wife or your neighbor's daughter, stuff like that. Read the 5 books of Moses, because he's giving us instructions on how he wants us to act and live as productive human beings. I had to stop, Dante, right? I'm sorry. I had to stop, Dante, reading like the Bible and basically applying it to everybody life, because a lot of y'all are not studying when I study. A lot of y'all are not praying when I pray, or when I'm talking to the Creator, or when I make it personal and I'm talking with the Son. That's the relationship with us by way of the Holy Spirit now. That's just how it is now. So I look forward to the Holy Spirit and teaching me and showing me everything that the Creator, basically how he wants me to live, instructing my life. So if you catch what I'm saying, they said the word Bible, right? Basic instructions before leaving this earth. By who? It ain't man. Basic instructions before leaving this earth. The same way God prepared me to come here as a child, he's preparing me to come back home as a child. And the reason why I can say that, Dante, because look, I'm 63. I'll be 64 on February the 20th. I could be wrong, but I can guarantee you, in a sense, you see, I had to change that word real quick. I have more time behind me than I do in front of me. Because if I live to see 120 years old, that's amazing. By him. So now the reason why I'm saying that, right? Because once I hit 50, Dante, I said, oh my God, that's a half 100. So you get me? I'm halfway there. I was blown away. 50. Then 60. Whoa. So basically what I'm doing, right, from that child on up, I'm looking at this. Then you hit the half mark, right? Then I'm looking at this. You reverting back. But now, I'm not at that childish state yet. You get me? And I know it's going to come a time, if I live long enough, that somebody's probably going to have to start changing my Pampers and all that stuff. So I ain't rushing that. See, I already know what the body is doing. Y'all ain't got to tell Steve nothing, because my body telling me. You ain't got time for that. But look, and it's amazing, right? Because I was, and I used to say it too at times, but age ain't nothing but a number. You better stop playing with yourself. You better stop playing with yourself. Because until you get a certain point, I'm talking about age-wise in your life, where a lot of the stuff that you used to do in your youth and stuff like that, and you don't have that energy or that stamina or that drive, and then you tell yourself, yeah, age ain't nothing but a number, right? Because the thing now at 63 is to try to get the same energy, and I'm talking about physical ability and stuff like that, to move around. Your mind. Stuff don't stick like it used to be. So until you get to a certain point that you can actually see and understand for yourself, and I'm not saying it's a stupid statement, please don't get it wrong. When you make certain things out your mouth, age ain't nothing but a number. I told somebody today on TikTok, right? You better pray you get to see this type of stuff. Great. This is not something that happened overnight. I didn't have this at 23 and 30. I used to dye it too. I told myself, I said, don't start dyeing your hair no more. Because the thing is, it's okay to embrace your elderness. I don't know who need to hear what I'm saying, right? But let me see. A raised voice among men and an expression of passion. The only way that becomes a problem is if it's used as a weapon and not as a beacon to shed light on wrong. And thanks, Dante, because I know some people look at me, right, in a negative way, but that's your bull jump. And I'm not trying to be smart, because I used to worry about all of that. And then I begin to understand, Dante, that the message is not for everybody. I don't know who, where at, in America, outside, I don't know who might need to hear whatever I say when I open up my mouth. But I learned throughout the years, Dante, in the walk, that if I can just help one individual make the decision to turn their lives around, I did what God called me to do. And I might not never know who it is. I might not never know. And that's what I begin to understand. So that's why when y'all hear me say things like, my mouth is my biggest weapon for the body of Christ, right? I can only share with y'all how God uses me. How I yelled out a little over 32 years ago, and I yelled real loud, God, please help me. And he began to turn my life around. I know a lot of people that yelled out and asked God to help them. And he did. And because God delivered them from certain things, they don't go back and help others. Did I lose y'all with what I just said? When I yelled out a little over 32 years ago, God, please help me, And I was guided to the church. Then I was guided to the NA meetings as well. It would be real selfish for me. And y'all think because I run off in my mouth, oh, that's his ego, oh, that's his pride. It would be real selfish and self-centered for me not to give back what God did for me. I know a lot of people with more time than me, people that's into the church, because they're around other God-fearing church people. They don't feel as though it's not everybody, y'all. It's not everybody's mission to go back out into the community. It's not everybody's. And the reason why I'm saying this, because you do have some church members that God delivered from certain things. They real good at quoting scripture and telling you all that. Others. I see that personally myself. I know the courage and the confidence it takes to go back out, back into basically the wilderness. You get me? Because that's what it is. It's basically the wilderness. So I know how tough it can be to go back out, start creating programs with other people to help better educate his people, those that need the help the most. And I'll sit here and I'll watch a lot of people. When I say watch, I'm talking about listening, criticizing other people that's stuck somewhere where you used to be. And you'll look down on them. You'll look down on them. I remember one time that was me. And you grateful to God. But that don't make no sense. I don't do that to nobody. That's why when y'all hear me make statements like, I was once lost, but now I'm found. I was once blind, but now I see. See, I ain't got to just quote it just to be quoting something good, because it sounds good, mainly when you actually live it for yourself. And you could say, wow, I remember when I didn't understand this, when I didn't know this, when I was practicing a difficult lifestyle, you could not tell me that I was wrong. Now that my eyes are open, I see the wrongs of that wicked way. That's why when y'all hear me say things like, once again, I was blind, but now I see. I don't be saying it just to be saying it. I'm speaking from a level of personal experience. And I'm getting to the I'm getting to the point now, right? I don't mind supporting people in your platforms or your lives. I don't mind it. But I'm going to start blocking more people that tends to have toxic platforms. It does something to my spirit. It does something to that mental state. Because now you wrestling with yourself, right? To try not to like sway from your morals, your values, your principles. Because you want to jump over here with the chaos and the confusion at, right? But then you want to stay right here because, you know, rather than straddling the fence. Then you want to go over here. And I'm like, no. Don't lose yourself in this. But to go with that all is not to pass judgment on nobody, not to pass judgment, but to encourage you, to motivate you, and to empower you. At least those that want to hear. What do I look like? In the society as a whole, in a city with about 500,000 people. We used to be bigger than this at one point. But I want to sit back and say all women this and all women that. All women are not like that, whatever that may be. Or I want to sit back and say all men are this, men are that, men. All men are not like that. And when I hear a lot of people saying that on TikTok, you really makes me wonder what type of men you've been around. Well, I ain't trying to say all men, but all men. I'm like, what? Or all women, but all women. I'm like, make up your goddamn mind. Do you hear what you be saying? Like you flip-flopping. And I was thinking about this before I came upstairs, family. You got a woman that's married. Her husband laying right there in the bed, or her husband in the living room. She in the kitchen at the table on TikTok. Her husband in there, but she bashing men. Do you know she's, what is it, indirectly throwing hints to him? Do you realize that, ladies? Because if you got a great man in your life, and we all have our little issues, but if you have a great man in your life, and vice versa, man, woman, man, woman, man, woman, you ain't gonna do nothing but embrace that person to help others understand that there are truly good, men and women out there. Because you got one. Why would you turn down a man or a woman? Then if you got like sons, I already know what you basically doing to them. And if you got sons that's growing up, they could be in their teenage years now, right? And you on your live saying all men of this, all men of that. Do you know you indirectly talking to your sons? You turn them down? And your daughters? No freaking way in the world. I'm going to sit up here and make my daughters think that all women are this and all women are that. No way in the world, because I'm bashing them. Even though I might not be directly meaning to say this to them, but I'm downing them. I don't understand how y'all don't get it. And I'm trying not to figure that one out. And I was listening to the women today, right? Not being smart, because y'all, we know y'all give birth. Do y'all realize when I was 18 years old, my sister, oldest daughter, she's 45 now. When my sister had her, right? Y'all know I lift her up to God. That's my niece. Then guess what? When her sister came, my nephews, my own children, they are a gift from God. And I raised them back to God. And I was going to share that on TikTok today. But I didn't want to share it to offend the women. That felt like they needed to bash the men. Because I said if I say something, they're going to be like, it's going to twist it. But I wanted to say this too, right? Would one of y'all mothers, because I'll challenge your butt every time, ever raised any one of your children back up to the Creator? Just to say thank you. Now, mind you, I did this with my nieces, my nephews, all the grandbabies, you know, the ones that's close near me, because they are gifts from God. I don't hear y'all talk like that. And see, I'll come in and share something from that point of view while y'all over there doing this and doing that. And the moment I do, y'all go right back into what y'all was talking about. I'm like, watch this. It happens every time. That helps me to see what Dante wrote, like he wrote over here, right? And I don't know why systematic racism coming to mind, but it's not systematic racism, right? It's how people are being indoctrinated. It helps me to understand too, Dante, about the post-traumatic slavery disorder. I'm listening to a lot of them going back to Jim Crow. I'm listening to a lot of y'all going back to what happened with our ancestors. You're not living in them days. You're not living during that time that our ancestors went through a lot of the stuff that they've been through, that they went through. You get me? But y'all will sit back, and it's not like stuff ain't happening in the here and now, but y'all will sit back and you will put yourself back in the category of our ancestors when they didn't have the power that they have today, the men and the women. And sometimes, Dante, I be saying this too, right? Y'all make people like myself work real hard for him, mainly when it comes up to fighting against the system. Because I hear us over here turn each other apart, right? When you know it's by design. I'm steady listening to the mothers knocking the men, and I kept posting the whole time I was on this platform, the school to prison pipeline. The school to prison pipeline. And if you want me to take it a step further, we're going to go back to when Pharaoh told the midwives, all the firstborn males, do what with them? Unalive them. All the firstborn males, unalive them. So do you realize, family, you feeding right into the hands of the oppressors? Don't even realize it. And I kept putting it there for a reason. The school to prison pipeline starts from K through 12. And it talks about not properly educating our young men, not as much as the women. It wasn't talking about basically the women. It's talking about the Black young men. If you don't properly educate them right, 9 times out of 10, they're going to start living a destructive lifestyle. And it also talks about preparing them for the prison system. And I'm sitting here listening to y'all. I'm sitting here listening to, okay, we understand about the AB. Once that law got passed, right, that bill or that policy, I asked somebody how long before we can ratify that bill. I don't hear y'all talk about that or amend that bill. Because they want us to think that we're helpless and hopeless. I remember asking somebody, and he told me, he said, the moment it got passed, you can ratify that bill. But see, nobody told y'all about that part, did they? But now here it goes. You got to find a politician that disagree with the bill. Now you can't say demolish it completely, right? But you can amend certain things. And then get it passed again. I know, Devin, I was just reading a little further down about the symbols and stuff. And know what? Be honest with y'all. I was going to come on at 4. And I really caught myself preparing for 4. But the conversation was getting real interesting, right? And I ain't trying to knock nobody. Be honest, I'm not trying to knock nobody. When I come up on people platforms and y'all see Big Unc up there, the goal is to try to educate our people. And I feel like a lot of these hosts, not all of them, but it's hard to find some great ones, that y'all more like add to the problem. Already know what's happening. Make me wonder, do certain people get paid to host the platforms that they host? Are people getting paid to come up to start this division even more amongst us? And be honest, I have to stay balanced because certain things I see, and I just about know certain people that's going to come up on people platforms and they're going to go right in bashing people. And if you pay attention, they're not just bashing the men. They will go for the women too. So you making me wonder, are you getting paid to do this? And some of y'all will come up here and try to sound so intellectual while you up here, you doing research in the background so you'll have a talking point. I thought I was the only one saying that. And I heard a guy say it today. Say, oh, such and such over there, do like she in a damn encyclopedia or something. Just to have a talking point. And came back and made the statement. No, I was not. Yes, you were. Yes, you were. You can tell. It's like this. Some of the stuff that y'all say, it's like it's y'all reading from what is it? A prompt. And the only reason why I could say that, right, Because as a human rights advocate, or when we go out to speak at certain, say, rallies or you know, speaking and stuff like that, right? They give you something to, they give you a prompt to read from. Whenever you got a lot of your like senators and your, look, they have a staff, right? They have a staff that write their speeches. And it all depends on the area that they're going in. They will say certain things to please the community, the people. Or you got to speak this way over here because they better relate to you here. You might have to downgrade your words some. Then when you working around more, or you around campaigning wise, more conservative people, you might have to upgrade your words. I've seen it personally myself. And a lot of y'all will come on these platforms and you can tell some of the stuff y'all be saying, it's like it's scripted. Yeah, teleprompts. Thanks, Dante. Cause I'm gonna say this too. Prime example. When you hear the Orange Man, if you hear him talking and he sounds a little educated, he's reading from a prompt. Or he's reading from whatever that's in front of him. But when you hear him talk on another degree and it sounds like his stuff don't make no sense, that's actually him. That's him. Because me and Christopher was laughing about it, right? Me and Chris was like, Trump don't follow his prompts. He'll move away from a prompt in a minute because he had a teleprompt. He have his staff. I'm telling you, they write down what they want the president or whoever to speak. I mean, to say at that rally or whatever. Now, some of them are real good with it. Kimberly Klacik is good with memorizing her stuff. Oh, she's good. But the only reason why I could say this, Dante, because when we helped Kimberly Klacik, I helped Kimberly Klacik with some other people. And we all sat down. And if we knew she was coming in the inner city to speak, then you had to write stuff that will relate to the conditions. It's like you feeding them bull crap. Of you telling them if you get in the office, what you gonna do to better improve their situation, right? That's all it is. Then when you dealing in an area that's more conservative, right? Mainly where your voters are. Your voters are more on your outer skirt. It's not the inner city people that votes like that. But they will come in and they will make false promises to the people that's in the inner city and building up their hope and their courage and their confidence. But then they do the total opposite. And that's what basically all of it. But one thing I can tell you, a lot of people don't know, but the mayor's budget is not just for the city itself. Part of it, a portion of it goes into the county as well. I was listening to Brandon Scott when he was talking about it. Not just Brandon Scott, some of your council members, not some, but whatever district they have, like the 7th district, they have a portion of the county too. And that's why I said, if y'all not in the politics to really understand, you won't know what's happening. But it's a certain measure of it that money applies to that county area as well, the county district. I didn't understand a lot of that, Dante, until I got more involved. Facebook used to flag me a lot when I got into talking about politics a lot. And I was calling out names. And I didn't understand, Dante, the way I used to come at our politicians, right? I didn't realize it was called defamation of character. And know what? You're so correct. I don't want to say his name because, mind y'all, for 40 years I voted Democrat. And when I found out they was running the city in the hole, I got depressed and I backed up. So I'm stuck right here in the middle. I'm stuck. So I met I met during this time, it was about 9 Black Republicans running for seats, even mayor. Christopher Anderson asked me to come and help them win their seats. I knew they weren't going to win because most of your, see, I get blue states, right, are Democratic cities. Most of them are Democrats. So I knew that it was going to be hard for the Republican Party to actually get a seat, say like get a council seat, right? Now the state delegate, if you're running for the House of Delegate, I think you can be Republican as well, right? Democrats and Republicans. If you're running for council, basically their office space is at City Hall. So I was trying to see, Dante, how the Democrat and the Republicans can work together. Because they would actually have to come together if a Republican win a local seat like that, as far as a council seat, right? They would actually have to come to City Hall. So I was trying to see how could the Democrat and the Republican work together. So Christopher was like, they can. But now, this what I begin to understand in that process, Dante. You know, a lot of them believe in the same. But you got to understand, when it comes to the Democrat, you got to understand what their mission statement is all about. I don't hear y'all talk about that. Then you got to understand what the Republican Party mission statement is all about. Right? But what I was beginning to see, Dante, in that process of saying that, whether they're Democrats or whether they're Republicans, we talking about human beings. And some of them do believe in the same like policies, stuff like that. So when y'all hear them pitching each other against each other, things like that, I mean, pitching, you know, Democrats, Republicans, I'm like, do y'all realize them suckers sit down, have breakfast, lunch, and dinner together, and they sit and they talk, they hang out, they go through all of this, and then as soon as they get in front of the camera, oh, you ain't this, you ain't that. Dante, know how I know? Mary Pat Clark and other city district representatives like Angela. I haven't met her yet, but Smith Wilder. Yup. And thanks for saying that, Dante, because look, you saying that took me back to Corey McCray. I'm going to tell you, and you're right about Mary Pat Clark, and I know she's older now too, and Angie. Oh my God! You know my baby Angie? Oh my God, Dante! I haven't heard from Angie in years. Yeah, Angie, it's just the two names just came together. I remember when she first started running, Angie. Matter of fact, she over near the Lake Clifton area, right? She over near me. But I haven't seen Angie in years. We used to stay connected. But because of the way I carried it, right, I think they was looking at me, certain ones was looking at me more in a negative way, which was okay. It's okay. Just like with since you know Angie, I know you know Rita Church as well. Rita Church. And I'm gonna tell you this, Dante. When I was coming hard, calling out names of our politicians the way I used to, a lot of them backed up off me, right? Because one, it wasn't a good look. You get me, Dante? It wasn't a good look. So that's why now when I talk about certain things, I can talk about, say, an issue, right? Mainly if it's whatever bill that they create that will hurt the inner city community people. I can talk about it. I was just taught don't say no names. Okay. Yeah, because look, when you said that, right, and I'm gonna show you this. I think her oldest daughter, I'm trying to think, was she in college? Was she had just started college? But I know her youngest daughter should be a teenager now. Should be a teenager. She might have been in high school. And I'm gonna tell you somebody else too, Dante. And I'll jack her name up. Our school superintendent, Chantalisa. Now, her oldest daughter, Chantalisa, oldest daughter, I remember the two youngest ones, but her oldest daughter looked just like her. She should be out of college now, and it all depends on what she's taking up, right? But now, the reason why I'm saying this, even with Marilyn Mosby, I remember when their children was little children, and I know they're teenagers now, and that's all. But I remember when they were little, and now they like teenagers, like 13, 14, 15 now. And yup. And man, Angie, woo, yup. I haven't seen her, but I'm over in her district though. But now I haven't seen her too much. But Donnie, and I want to make sure I said right, Donnie, he gonna hurt me. Donnie Glover. I don't want to get him mixed up with the other Donald. That's over in this district as well. And that's how I met Rita Church too back in the days. A lot of them reached out to me, Dante. You get me? But because I was coming real harsh at them, it didn't make me look good. Because when you talking against the grain, you get it, Dante? And I'm the type of person, if I see stuff out of line, I'll come for you. But I'm trying to be more humble now because what was told to me in that process too, Dante, focus more on the business side of things, not the politics. Leave it alone. So that's why I'm trying to, because what I start realizing, Dante, and I was sharing this the other day, Plus Jones, and I already know Plus. Sometimes you got to know the ins and the outs of the politicians that you're dealing with. Mainly when it comes to getting contracts around this city. That's why a lot of people reach out to me, Dante. That's why a lot of people reach out to me. Because they know when it come to me, Dante, and our politicians can tell you themselves. They say one thing about Steve. Steve is a connector. He know how to bring people together. That's what they call me, Dante. So in that process of me saying that, Dante, to be honest with you, I had to start respecting them more. And the reason why I said I had to start respecting them, family, the politicians got a job to do. And to me, I like to throw a monkey bar in there, lie, manipulate the people. But look, they got a job to do. The police commissioner and them got a job to do. Our churches have a job to do. And Steve Copeland have a job to do. He speaks out against a lot of the corruption that he sees that's happening towards the people. And they know that. That's why I don't worry about a lot, Dante. My biggest problem through this process with us, Dante, is getting the proper funding to help with the housing program. And the only reason why it's kind of hard for me, because I'm trying not to kiss nobody's butt. Too many people kiss butts. And they know when it comes to Steve Copeland, they know I don't play. They know it. And it can be a hindrance for somebody like myself. That's why I didn't do the which I am going to do, Dante, the 501c3. And the only reason why I want to do the 501c3 now is because of the multi-purpose center. So I am going to need that government funding. And not just the multi-purpose center, to start rehabbing and revitalizing houses. And I got people that's willing to work with me with that too as well. But a lot of times, people want you to come to the table too with your own. You get me? They'll have a problem investing with you. But they want you to have your own. But see, the type of person I am, and a lot of people that knows me, Dante, I can use your paperwork to get us the contracts that we need to, but everything I be in order. I'll go into that broker mode. And anybody that knows me, Dante, and knows the business side, they know I'll take it there. But your paperwork, because what I'm doing, I'm taking your information and I'm sitting down with the minority contractor, the one that runs that portion, for us to bid on a contract for you. So everything got to be lined up and in order. I don't tell nobody who they is or none of that. That's part of that thing, Dante, where you don't let your left hand know what your right hand doing. So once we come together and I see that everything is lined up, because mind you, I'm not by myself. I'm not by myself when it comes to the business side of it. But I am going to ask you questions because, number one, if your paperwork, your stuff is not in order for us to get that money, for you to do a contract, I got lenders and everything, but your stuff has to be lined up. But I have to use your paperwork. Trump and them do it every time. Dante, you get it? Elon Musk and them do it every time. They use other people's money. Y'all think they got that huge and that large by themselves? No. Most of all, their employees are the ones that help them to become, and the other business partners, hundreds of dollars, a billion, look, hundreds, being worth hundreds of billions. Yeah, that's why you got to create a team. And you got to surround yourself with the right people, know who to go to, who to talk to, who can point you in the right directions. You got to learn that. You got to know all that. And then you got people, Dante, and you seen this yourself, who will just jump on your bandwagon to see what they can take from you, to see what they can steal. It just happened to us. But the good part about this, Dante, this wasn't the first time. I done seen where we went from 2 houses, Dante, to a complex, to right now it's more like, God, I want my own. I want my own. I don't want to have to answer to nobody. You get me? So if I look at a building, say $500,000, and this is where I want to start at, and I want to buy my own. So I want to be buying it, right? If not, I will lease, but it's going to be in my name. I'm not going nobody else subleasing, blah, 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 subcontracting. No. No. And I know it's coming. I already know it, because God don't make no mistakes. I can personally say we went from 2 to 13 to, I know if not bigger, I know he got something better. I already know it. I already know it. And that's one of the reasons too why I come on my live. Because I don't know who, where, that might need to hear what I'm saying, just to say, I'm going to go and invest this money into Baltimore City. Because the Arnolds, Dante, when we fought to get the spy plane over Baltimore City, the Arnolds, not the taxpayers' money, the Arnolds was the ones that was willing to pay for that plane to be here up to a year. The Arnolds. By the time we went down to City Hall, the Arnolds went from a year to 3 years of paying Ross for running that plane over Baltimore City to help reduce. See, it was the politicians that fought us not to get that plane here, to slow down. And I gotta say this for TikTok's sake, right? I'm gonna say the homicide rate over here, the unalive rate for TikTok. Back in 2017. That's why we fought to get that plane here, to reduce it. Now, what's this, 2025? That was 2017. 2024. They said the homicide rate by Pew Pew or Gunga. I gotta watch what I'm saying for TikTok family, so help me, excuse the words. Right? To get it under 200. We was talking about getting it under 200 that year it was here. 2024. They said the unalive rate by Pew Pew was 201 from 2017 to 2024. Now watch how I do it again, Dante, and I know a lot of y'all probably really don't understand. That was this, the Pew Pew. I ain't talking about the other ways people lost their lives. They ain't putting it all together. Y'all heard what I said? It was all based around the pew pew. But other people was being unalive for other reasons, which they didn't include in with the pew pew, with the gun violence. That was their goal, to reduce the gun violence. What is Safe Streets? What's the purpose of Safe Streets? To reduce the gun violence. When you have nonprofits in the community, when you have a nonprofit in the community, do I need to do it again? When you have nonprofits in the community, that's their way of telling the state and the government that they're going to have programs in the communities to help build back up in the community. Did y'all know that's what your nonprofits are about? Not only that, if you have a shortage with the police department, why your nonprofits in the community are not working to help slow a lot of this down? That's their job. That's what they told the state and the government. Y'all ain't know that? Y'all didn't know that? Mainly if they get government funding. Because they get it saying whatever your nonprofit is, rather it's there to educate the community, like with tutoring and all this type of stuff, or rather it's there because it's there to help build back up. But you got so many people with nonprofits that's in the communities that's coming out of their pockets to pay for the product that they need to serve the people. So guess what? Helmer's Builders gave me a 16-foot box truck where I can get 8 pallets on that box truck, which I was getting donations to give back to the communities, the nonprofits in the communities that was coming out of their pockets with their own money to help save them save money. A lot of y'all didn't know that, did you? I was doing, Dante, I was doing the work of a nonprofit without the EIN number. I didn't know it till somebody pointed it out to me, Dante. I get food, I get clothing, I get furniture, I help people move, all of that at a lower price, and sometimes free. I dealt with Flo and anybody that needed furniture, like they got an apartment or a place or something, Flo would come out and furnish the whole place. Right now, they done grew so big now that he got a waiting list. I ain't talk about Flo in a while, but not just Flo. We have another furniture spot here, and it's Baltimore something, right? Now I reached out to them, but they do house. I mean, put furniture in people's houses too. Like it's a lot of places I found out in this process where, say, like if you're a foster care parent, right? You can get bids and all of that. I have a place, and I went, Dante, not some months ago, that gives me like I can get box spring mattresses, I can get blankets, pillowcases, sheets, and all of that from I want to make sure I say the name right. Interland. They service hospitals and institutions, like with the twin bed mattresses, box spring, the covering stuff. Oh God, I hate when I start stumbling over words. But now I started reaching back out once I came off a home monitor this year, right? I started reaching back out to a lot of these businesses that have warehouses and have stuff abundantly that I can get once again to start giving back. It's just, I can't do it by myself. At one point, I was doing a lot of stuff by myself. But once I got into this spot right here, it took up a lot of time. And then I had to get everything back up and running again. And then it came to a halt. Boom. But you got to have the right staff. You got to have the right people with you. So even though that one door closed, that's not the end to it all. I just started realizing more too, and God already showed me they coming. But you have to make sure you got the proper staff. You have to have the proper people lined up to get the work that needs to be done. I can't worry about what people think, how people feel about me. I just, you know, I know a lot of organizations, right, that's doing their own thing. And when I say that, I'm talking about like we, ours, us. I don't have a problem walking with them. When I talk about Uncle T, I don't have no problem with Uncle T, like going around him, supporting him in the youth. Damon Cooper, Mayo, these are black men that's working with our youth. Lisa, Cherie Rogers. But guess what? A lot of them, right, we all at one point was there to support each other and everything. So they open this corner doing a job, this corner doing a job, that corner doing a job. So we trying to cover a lot, but it's still not enough. So when it comes to Baltimore City, and anytime I come on TikTok and I talk about certain things, I can only tell you about Baltimore City. I'm not focusing on what's happening in China. I'm not focusing on what happens over there in the UK. I'm not focusing on Africa, because I'm not in those places to at least give them a helping hand. So I can only talk about Baltimore City as a whole. Every time we have conversations on TikTok, all of y'all want to compare Finland to the United States, or you want to compare Great Britain to the United States, because their culture might be living a certain way, or they might not have the say the poor cities like we have that need the help the most. So y'all want to compare some of these areas that's not struggling the way we're struggling here in America, only to make your own country look bad compared to somebody else's. If you want to adopt their, I was going to say ideology, right? If you want to adopt that concept and you think it'll work for us over here in the United States, bring it. But you want to do so much comparison. You want to go back and you want to focus on Jim Crow, right? I ain't into Jim Crow like that. I understand a little bit about Jim Crow, that Jim Crow era. I understand that. But the thing is, what are we doing? All right, Dante, Merry Christmas. Oh, Will, Merry Christmas. What are we doing to break that cycle? Sorry, Will. I just happened to look down at the name. What are we doing to resolve the issues that we're having here? If we know that other cities or countries are unified or coming together more than us, why don't we adopt that? Why we don't do it? But you want to sit back and compare it. Well, they don't do this over there. They come together over here. They come, but you steady turn your own place down. Now that might make sense to a lot of y'all, right? That might make a lot of sense for you to talk about another country or say like another city that's resolved, not resolved, but slowed a lot of the criminal behaviors down, right? Or the smugs and all that type of stuff. They didn't gain control. Rather than you coming up with something here in your city to say if they can do it, we can do it. You rather talk bad about your own place, your own country, your own community, your own city. I do. I get tired of it. I get tired of hearing us doing that to each other. Mainly when y'all quick to turn around and say the white man this and the white man that. And I shared this with some people today too. Let's go to the have and the have nots. They ain't all white. They ain't all black. The United States aren't the only people that suffer, that's being taken advantage of by the haves, and you have nots. Nothing in their eyesight. I had to get out that box too. And what helped me come out that box, when Communities United in Us went to Detroit to rally and do a protest with them, I realized from that day forth that black people aren't the only people that suffers. Because we went up there, if I'm not mistaken, I keep saying the immigrants, not the immigrants, but I believe it was the Hispanics, just another culture. We went up there and I realized they was going through the same stuff up in Detroit that we're going through with the black race in Baltimore City. I was like, oh my God. Because a lot of us is taught that it's just a black and white thing. And I realized from that day, we're not the only ones that they trying to keep their, it's like their foot on our necks. That's why I stopped doing it. I stopped. Just like with that religious box, right? As I begin to grow spiritually, and I'm going to tell you personally, from what I read up and from what I studied, I know Christ. This is what the Bible says. This is what the Bible says. The only way to get to the Father is through the Son. I already know that. And it talks about salvation comes through the Son. I know that's what Bible says. But there are other ways of God dealing with his people. I had to get out that box. Now, if you talk Bible, I'm right here with you. But from what, on this spiritual journey, I don't care how you live your life. You are his creation. And he loves you anyway. Rather you believe in Christ or not, he loves you anyway. And a lot of pastors, teachers, and all of that, they know it, but it's the way they are indoctrinated. Mainly if it's biblical, because they have to go by what they was taught. Even though they might see it totally different. God starts showing them something totally different. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. But that's why for me, as a lover of Christ, when I say I'm a lover and I'm a follower of Christ, I am not talking about the religion. I tell y'all that all the time. I end up moving away from the religious sector, right? Which I know is there. But I begin to grow spiritually. So I begin to see something a little bit different because my life began to take on a personal turn. And if a lot of y'all haven't experienced that, then you won't relate to what I'm saying. You'll be like, no, that ain't it. Okay. I mean, hey, that's not what he showed you. A lot of y'all got great knowledge when it comes to Bible, when it comes to reading the Egyptian Bible, when it comes to reading all them other books. A lot of y'all have great knowledge with that. I don't touch it. The reason why I don't touch it, because I haven't read that far out. I might have read a little stuff throughout history just to get an understanding why what this means over here and that means right there. But when I tell you point blank, Bible come to life to me. You might read Bible and read about everybody else's story in the Bible, but you can't see your own. They were no different than any one of us. They was human beings just like us that God inspired to share their experience, strengths, and hopes from during that time with their eyewitness. Rather, it was the actual author itself. It was written down. That's why for me, when I see scripture, I can go in and say, oh, I remember this in my life. I remember that in my life. See, I don't have to quote somebody else's story because it comes to life. Some of y'all understand the continent very well. Some of y'all understand all of this very well. You understand all of that. That's fine. Personally, I don't care to know all that. My whole thing is making sure my life is right with Christ or the Holy Spirit. Y'all done focused on everything else out that's in the Bible and don't even have a connection. But you have a great understanding. And that makes you feel special when it comes to a conversation. So even though y'all might hear me say, yes, I got ordained deacon in 2009. Even though y'all might hear me say stuff like, even though I became an ordained deacon, I'm a minister for Christ. And guess what? No man told me that. That came from God. I am a minister. I am a messenger. I am a fisher of men. That's why we go back out and we create things within the community. Jesus fed the 5,000. And if you go to Bible class, they will break it down like my pastor did when they travel. Whenever Jesus and them travel, whenever you're going on a trip, you tend to pack more than enough food. Some of them had enough food to help feed others that ran out. So the way he broke it down, he kind of made it a little bit more simpler, right? And I was like, wow. Then he understood about then what he was saying about the two fishes. Fishes was plentiful. The fishes was plentiful. That's all they had to do was go and fish and feed the people. And then on top of that, the bread. They baked bread. But what he was saying, they took care of each other. So when I look back at that, right, Jesus fed the 5,000. And I can tell y'all, I get eight pallets on this truck full of food. I don't know how many it might feed, but I understand Jesus fed the 5,000. I get food, I give it back to the people that need it the most. Furniture, clothing. Y'all might not see the two, right, or the comparison to it, but I see it. I see it. So when I look at how the word, the spoken word, because God is his word, they said the spirit of the Lord hovered through the universe. It was words that came out that spirit. Now, please go to Genesis and tell me I'm lying. Then it goes on to talk about how the spoken word had become the written word. Didn't they write about the word in the Old Testament? And it became the living, breathing word. Now, guess what I just did? Describe the creator or the father. How the word became, you know how I was getting ready to jump to became flesh, right? But how the written word, they spoke about God coming in a human form. The word, balled up in the flesh, human flesh. God is his word. It talks about it in John, how the word became amongst his people, dwell amongst his people, and his people did not recognize him. Now, for some of y'all, right, you might read it and say, that ain't true, that ain't true, that ain't true. Because you might not see the truth for where you at. That's all I'm saying. But stop trying to knock what God reveals to other people. Because what I had to understand, right, when God started revealing himself to me, I felt totally privileged. I don't care what none of y'all say. I felt like I was that special child. You get me? I'm like, oh my God, I felt favored. It's just something I felt in here. And I'm saying this, if that's not how you see it, and that's not how you feel it or whatever, he didn't show it to you. But as a man who sees the Father, the Son, and understand the purpose of the Holy Spirit as the comforter now, that's guiding and leading my life, and I'm talking about that spirit of life that's in me. Y'all can call it the soul. Y'all can call it whatever you want. I call it the conscience from time to time, because whenever I'm going against the grain, as far as living by some good morals, values, and principles, whenever I'm doing stuff that's deceitful and dishonest, it's like my conscience, that's that other side of me. Well, my conscience will let me know something ain't right. That's why I have to do a fearless inventory on myself, right? A searching and fearless moral inventory, because anytime you know the difference between right and wrong, right? And I'm trying to break it down and make it real simple. You know, anytime you going against your morals, your values, your principles, your integrity, stuff that you are inquired to stand on, to make you an upright citizen, and you going against it, normally your stomach gonna quiver and everything, because you're going against the norm. You learn to live a better way of life. So all of a sudden it's like, why am I feeling like this? Why that? because you're going against the grain of reality for yourself. So a lot of times when I feel that, or my spirit is out of whack, and I call it the conscious, I got to look at myself and say, okay, why are you feeling like this? Why this? Why that? And 9 times out of 10, if I'm feeling a little queasy in the spirit, 9 times out of 10 is something that I used to do that I'm doing again now. And it don't feel right. That's your conscious. That's why sometimes for me, I don't understand how, and I'm going to go here. I'm going to say on a religious tip, I'm going to do that. As a single man, and I shared this the other day, right, as an ordained deacon, if I want to go sleep with women in the church, I can. Okay? Let me make that clear. If I want to go sleeping around in the church, I can. I tell y'all, I work with women and children. So if I want to sleep with the women in my housing program, I can. So don't ever try to sit up there and be like, oh, he old now. Oh, he this and that. Then no. Yeah, he old. But look, getting somebody, all I'm saying, it ain't hard. It ain't hard. It ain't hard. Young, old, it ain't hard. Y'all don't never catch what I be saying. I just thank God a day at a time. I have not stepped across that line. And I'm talking about even with the women in my housing program. I see women every day. Rather than 18, 19, 20, 30, something, 40, 50. I see women every day. And I know I'm a good looking man. That ain't the problem. I mean, look, I know it ain't no problem. I got cologne out the yang yang. So when I go out the house, I'm going to smell nice. I'm going to look nice. And I can guarantee you, because it happens every time. For the way that I walk and I carry myself, women will come past you amazed. Because they see, I wanted to say the pride, right? But they see that courage and that confidence in a well-rounded man. Already know about me. Oh, that coffee tastes good. What's up, alive? Already know about me. And if you now mind y'all, don't take it like if I say my ego, my pride, and stuff like that. Don't take it. I don't want y'all to take it in a negative way, if that's what y'all hear. But keep in mind, it took a lot of courage and confidence. You know what I mean? Mainly when you use outside sources to make you feel whole and complete. You know what I mean? As a human being. So now when your courage and your confidence and your integrity, now mind you, it took work to get here. It took work. So when y'all say things like that to me, oh, it's his pride. He always talking about this. He always telling me, yes. Because I know the courage. I know the confidence. I know the work that I had to do to get here. So when I look at people like Elon Musk, Donald Trump, back in the days, I used to say like Michael Jackson, all of them, because they got money and they doing what they doing, it didn't make them any better than me. And that's how I had to build up my courage and confidence. I hear y'all right now. Y'all will turn around and talk about Cardi B. Y'all will mention these, and they human beings. Cardi B, y'all know what Cardi B used to do, right? Now she's into entertainment. The quality of her life has changed. I used to be a hustler. I ain't no hustler no more. So the quality of my life has changed. So what I'm gonna do? Sit around? Oh, that me, you don't make no sense. And the only reason why I'm saying is because the only thing I'm saying, look at the courage. Look at the confidence. I've never, ever walked around without a shirt on. I've never, ever walked around without a shirt on. I'm almost at the point now where I can walk around without a shirt on. Only because I had belly, you know, my belly, then my chest, then I had like when we talk about the 6-pack, right? I said, yeah, I got a 6-pack. 3 rows over here and 3 rows over here. They're not here no more. So now, guess what? I'm at a point with my confidence with my body. If you watch me, sometimes I'll take a shirt. I will take a picture with just my white beater on. At one time, I would not do that. But look at the courage and the confidence. Back in Steve, it ain't about y'all. Well, I could sit up there and, you know, take a picture of myself and send it back over. When I be hearing women talking about 46 bras and all that type of stuff, I like to say to myself, I'll be come on. Most of my outfits are, I got to watch the word between tight and skinny. They're tight fit outfits. Do y'all realize you talking about a guy that came from a 6X suit to where I can buy an extra large now? And the only reason why I would get the extra large because I got to make sure I got space. You talking about a guy that came from over 300 pounds to 200. Even though I still might look big, but I am bigger up top. But guess what? I'm in the extra large. In certain larges, I can fit. It's just because of these, they going down, you know what I mean? But now when I put stuff on, boom. Come on. Do y'all realize the work? And I only share this type of stuff with people who's dealing with low self-esteem. Who people that feels like they might be worthless. You know what I mean? Because everybody else tell you this and you that and you this and you that. And I'm going to say this to you, June, because you came on What's Your Name's platform. I do not know you, June. I'm not going to mention the other one name, but I do not. And anybody that knows me knows I do not come on nobody's platform bashing women. Stop that bull crap. Stop that when it comes to me. Now, whatever Ghost, and I call Ghost my nephew because he's from Baltimore City, but whatever you, Ghost, and the rest of y'all have, as far as tearing each other apart, do not throw Steve Copeland in it. I am not a child. Do not do it. No way in the world, sis. And I didn't know what he said on his platform until Tansy said it. I did not know, June. Tansy was the one that said something about, you know, the statement he made towards the women. That was not me. But you coming on people's platform and you telling people I said something like that on his stuff. No, I did not. And before I could say anything, right, y'all muting me while she tried to chew me down. And I told y'all, stop muting me. I'm not gonna let this woman sit up here and tear me down for something I didn't do. And if I ever, anybody, man or woman, if I ever say something to disrespect you, and if you make it clear to me, be honest with you, if I ever say anything, I will apologize. I will. But because you know, sometimes we say stuff, and I'm just saying a word might slip out. But if I say anything derogatory to belittle anybody, man, woman, child, if you bring it to my attention, I have to remember it. If you bring it to my attention, I will apologize. Now, I'm going to share this with you too, because certain people said that I said things in us arguing, and I know I didn't say it. Like one girl tried to say I call her a B. And my thing is, why in the world would I call you a B and I got to do this? But you did. I said, okay, because I ain't going to argue with you. If I called you one, I apologize. But I know me. If I do, God dang it, I'm about to lose my mind. But know what? Because what people have a tendency of doing, they hear what you're saying, they hear what you said, but they play with words. I see it all the time. You'll turn around, a person can say something out their mouth to you, and you'll call yourself repeating back everything they said, but you'll repeat everything back that they didn't say and say you said that. No, they did not. And that's why people be on here arguing, because they trying to tell you that it's not what they said, and you going to swear other people down. Yes, it is what they did. That's why when I call myself, say like mimicking somebody, I'll tell them like this, right? I might can't word it exactly the way you said it. So that's why sometimes I don't try to point back out what people say. Because if you can't say back exactly what they said, then shut up. Because you only sharing what you thought you heard. And we good at that. I had somebody teach me that, y'all. That's why I can say that. A lady told me one time, I was trying to repeat back everything she said. She said, I didn't say that. This was years ago in my recovery. She said, if you cannot repeat exactly back what I said, she said, don't do it again. Because we have a tendency of adding our own words. That's all she was saying. So if you can't repeat exactly back what that person said to you, stop trying to tell them what they said, but you're using your own words, which not what they said out their mouth. Now y'all over there arguing. And then you got other people trying to come in to tell you, no, they did not say that. And a lot of people have a tendency, when somebody talk about something, you think they talking directly about you. Because when I hear a lot about women talking, and the same with the men, and if y'all go into the state, all men, all women, all men, all women, no. 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 And when I hear women say, like mainly when y'all try to criticize us as men, I got to catch myself. Because I be wanting to tell y'all I did foster care. I mentored young men. So when y'all say all men ain't this, all men ain't that, and I want to prove to y'all, hey, don't put all of us in that category. I'm a stepfather. Tell y'all that. My 26-year-old raised her since she was 2 months. Her sister, 30, raised her when she was about almost 4 years old. 2 other men children. Oh, y'all don't like to hear that. A man raising another man's child children. How about my nieces and nephews? They 45, 43, 40 with their own children now. But see, I be trying to shut up because when y'all do that, I'm going to debunk whatever you say out your mouth to let you know all men aren't bad. It's the ones you allow in your life. You got to watch who you allow in your life. I can sit in, look, my first wife was my best wife. My second wife, it was more of a challenge. Not to say she was bad. My first wife, I love. My second wife, I love. I understand the difference between the two now. I just don't love my second wife. I am in love with my second wife. But I understand that the marriage just didn't work. Well, how can you be in love with somebody and you didn't make it work? It just did. I didn't do the work. Well, how can you be in love with somebody and you I just didn't continue doing the necessary work? Did you hear what I just said? I'm the one that walked away. Well, you must have this and that. See, now you want to add all the yeast and stuff to it, so I'll let you go ahead. Didn't I tell you I walked away? Didn't I tell you I'm the one that refused to continue doing the work, what it takes for a marriage or a committed relationship to work? Do you listen? I'm the one. I wouldn't tell you to do it. I'm the one gave up. I'm the one that ran. I'm the one that punked out. And I dare you call me one. I'm the one that chumped down. See, I can talk about Steve. Y'all get mad because you can't talk back about Steve. I can tell you about Steve. Well, I want to tell you about Steve too, even though I don't even know you. I'll be like, you crazy as all them dudes. But yeah, that's why I ain't being smart, family. That's why I don't know on TikTok. I don't know what planet a lot of y'all come from. I say it all the time. I don't get it. Because look, dealing with like the community, right, as a whole, having daughters, raising nieces and nephews, family-wise, right? We do not talk like this when we're together. That's why I get so confused about TikTok. Then I tell y'all, with the housing program, right? Helping women, mainly women and women with children, women with children, right? Helping them to become more independent. And then I'm listening to the women on here talking about like Will explained it better about feminists, right? Just basically saying equal rights, which wasn't nothing wrong with that. I told y'all as a human rights advocates, we fight for your equal rights, your civil rights, and your constitutional rights. Now, be truthful with you. Women do have just as much right as men. But you got to understand, it's the system that doesn't want you to move, that don't want to see you prosper. It's how the system is designed. That's why I told them today, I said, what y'all need to do too, you need to read up more on your constitutional rights. Your amendments, the constitutional rights. You read up on your constitutional right, the amendments are right there. From the First Amendment to the 10th Amendment talks about the construction or the life of the human being, the rights that you have. Then after that, it goes more into the laws on up. Basically, what they're trying to do is to show you it doesn't matter who you are, your religious belief, your sexual intent, all that. It talks about it in the First Amendment. You're supposed to be treated fair or equally as a human being. And I kept posting it. As a human being, even though the black women might feel as though you don't have the same rights as the white women. See how y'all like to make it black and white? If you feel as though you're not being treated equally, you get with one of these groups that fight for your civil rights, your equal rights, and your constitutional rights because you're being discriminated against. Even if they use a job because of your sexual interest, preference, right? If they use it to discriminate against you, you can sue the company. Will kept sharing with you. I said Will, because Will is fighting to be a lawyer. A lawyer. If you hear Will, I think she's more like getting into, I wanted to say like the political side of things, right? But she's fighting for your civil rights, your equal rights, your constitutional rights. So if you listen how some people talk, you can hear it. Most of your lawyers that represent, that's our defense lawyers, they represent the people itself. So you can hear that warrior in them, mainly when they're familiar with the laws. But if you're not down with something like that, you won't get it. And that's why I tell y'all my mouth is my biggest weapon, because I had to read and I had to study up on the things that tend to hinder us as human beings. You missed it. So when you want to come up and you want to do your statistics and you want to do your research, you can do all you want. Where you think a lot of that information comes from? But if you come up, right, and you talk from a level of personal experience as far as what you see with your own two eyes and how you might have been discriminated against in a certain way, and you was able to turn it, right, fight against it, and I'm gonna say win the case, then you'll understand. So when a lot of y'all talk about, yeah, I'm into politics, I do this, I do that, you don't know a damn thing about politics, and forget my language. One guy gonna sit here and tell me the other day, right, the president of the United States do not create no policies. And for y'all to sit up there and say dumb stuff out your mouth, you don't understand the three branches of government. Then if somebody say, oh yeah, because Congress do this, Congress do that, then you'll break it down and go, oh no, the House of Representatives and the Senate, y'all, it equals up. Who actually writes the laws, the policies? The laws. They basically the laws of the land. Yes, the president will throw hints that if you create this, you create that, I have no problem in signing it. If you create something that he's really not down with, he can veto it. And who can flip it around? Who can turn it around? Congress. And then me and the guy up here talking the other day, and he said basically exactly everything I said, right? What's up, Gemini? He said basically that everything I said is Congress that write the laws, but we already know the president, this one right here, is throwing hints. I seen it. I've been seeing it. The first time when he ran. So he know it, right? He know what's going on. But the way he was wording his stuff, it's like the president of the United States take the time out to write policies. When do they ever have time? They only have time to spend with their own goddamn family, but the Obamas. They all come together. The legislative branch, all of them, they come together and they discuss certain things. Point blank. Some of them want what's best for the country, and some of them want people to struggle and work hard for what they want out of life. And you can't blame it. Because that's how some people feel. Well, I done worked and accomplished this and accomplished that. They need to work too. So you can't blame them. But guess what? Ask them what programs do they have in the city, in the inner city, to help people to get to that point. I bet you they go, blah, 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 blah. Oh, but you know politics, right? Tell them come and talk with Steve Copeland and the people he deal with in Baltimore City. And we can tell you what we're doing to help people further their education. We can tell you what we're doing to put people into apprenticeship programs. We can tell you what we're doing. I can point you in the directions of the ones that's doing it. Can your politician? Can your politician? They create laws. That's all they do, policies. We are the ones that come with the solutions to whatever laws they create. It's the people that have to learn to live accordingly. But you know about politics. And it doesn't matter whether it's a Democrat in or if it's a Republican. One thing I do know and I do understand, the Democrats, right? They want you, in a sense, because their goal is to help the people, the less fortunate people. That's why they created these free government programs like SNAP, like Medicaid, like housing. Understand what their mission is. Now, the Republicans, they want people to learn to be more independent, where they don't have to rely on state government funding. That's why, and I'm telling you because I understand their mission. I'm starting to study. But cutting out a lot of these government programs is with your tax money. Your tax money. I'm going to do it again. I might have to say it about 1,000 times. Your tax money is what goes into these programs for Medicaid, for SNAP, for taxes. That's your taxes going in to help build back up the infrastructure. And anytime they have to create or print extra money to do certain things, they will. But you know about politics. You might be making 100-something thousand or 80,000. You know, when you're in a certain tax bracket, your taxes, when you make a certain amount of money, you're in a different tax bracket. And be honest, you shouldn't complain. The old saying, the more you make, the more they take. You paying back in taxes. You're in a total different tax bracket. So the reason why I'm saying that right there, right? Do y'all realize, and it goes to show me where a lot of y'all are at, that same person that works at McDonald's, Burger King, do they pay taxes? A lot of them don't make enough money to pay a regular rent. A lot of them don't make enough money to buy food. So they might have to apply, even though they're working at a McDonald's and a Burger King and a Wendy's or something like that, for food stamps to help them off balance what they financially making. What is wrong with a lot of y'all? What is wrong with y'all? And then y'all up there, I don't want people be living over there, living over that. Look at the ones that need the help the most. 9 times out of 10, they living in your inner city communities below the poverty rate. They still got to pay rent. They still got to pay taxes. Some of them make enough just to pay the rent, but then they got cell phones, they got iPads, they got other stuff, right? Well, they don't need it, but you got yours. But you're going to say they don't need it, but it's all right for you. They want to live comfortable too. And a lot of them, guess what, going without it because they don't have it. That's why they have programs that will give you like government phones. That's why they have programs that will give you laptops. Y'all didn't know that? They have programs that will give you tablets. Y'all didn't know that? I'm only educating y'all about what's going on. Mainly for the people that can't afford to live a certain way of life. So when you hear me say certain things out my mouth, right? Say like you making 60, 70, $80,000 a year. And 9 times out of 10, I could be totally wrong. But from my personal experience, I'm going to do this. When I started driving tractor trailers, that's my profession. I didn't have to apply for food stamps. I did not have to apply for Medicaid. Basically, my job took care of that, or my career, my profession, the 401k, the retirement plan, extra bonuses. It came from the job or my profession. They gave you a bonus quarterly from the profit, basically, they made. This what happens, like if you become a plumber and you working for a company where you making real good money if you don't start your own. Electrician, a mechanic, if you working for like a car dealership and you making well over, I'm gonna say like, I always say 20, 25, 30. When you are in a professional type career, most of the time it's the company, unless they change it. I don't know. But when you're working for, you can put the, I would just say Fortune 500 company, right? But when you working for in a career, professional type setting, it's the company that helps provide. You're going to pay out your pocket for it. Life insurance, medical insurance. You can put they have family plans. Oh, how I know? Because mine was on my family. Because mine's covered my family. Even my stepkids. They was part of the family. Retirement, 401k. Because these are companies that's making like millions and billions. When I say millions, I'm talking about like hundreds of millions, stuff like that, right? Where they're profiting pretty good, where they're able to put back out. Now, when you working at, and I got to go to a McDonald's, Burger King, I don't know if Walmart is starting to do it now. I think Amazon is doing it, where they're starting to have the packages because they're starting to pay their clients over $20 an hour. Their employees, I'm sorry. I got a 9th grade education. That's why I like picking with y'all. I got a 9th grade education and I know all this. Some of y'all got master's degree, letters behind your names, and all of this. Some of y'all are economic majors and in the financial, some of y'all, this is your profession. I can tell you right now, and I say it a lot too, as a as a as a retired tractor trailer driver, right? It'll be 6 years in January that I retired. And I started business, right? And I keep trying to tell y'all, this is not my profession. When it comes to trucking and stuff like that, yes. When it comes to business, that's God. God already showed me, he basically told me how he wants stuff done. So when I sit with a lot of our business people, it's like God just put it right there. The words just come. Not just come, but how he wants stuff done. That's how I know it's not me. That's how I know that I've been called to certain things. Because I'm in areas to read and study and actually know about, like a lot of people that's this their profession. And I can sit down with y'all and talk with y'all. And we can create business together. Well, not businesses together. You got to already have a business. But we can come together as a corporation or come together as one. Anybody that gets involved in my life on the business tip, I know what I bring to the business. I need you to know what you bring to the business. If you coming over here and I catch you trying to sell some bull junk, I'm going to back up off you. I am going to ask you certain things because, yes, the same way with me, when it comes to us sitting down, right, to do business, when it comes to us sitting down to do business, I already know everything got to be in order. My paperwork, my business proposal. And I'll sit here and tell y'all, if you want to know about Steve, right, strengthen the community. The LaTanya D. Copeland House of Hope. Google it. Look at the little blue, green, blue little check thing, right? It's to let you know it's Google verified. The same way if you come on my wait a minute, Candy. The same way, right? If you, I'll send you to my website. Well, matter of fact, if you go on my Google page, it's going to send you to my website. It's going to send you to all of my social media pages. Because it's going to let you know this is business. When I mention the couch conversation, that's all you got to do is Google the couch conversation. And then put Steve Copeland in. It's going to tell you, it's going to show you my videos. So it's not that I'm just saying stuff, right? It's actually going to show you everything I say I do. But then some people be like, oh, that ain't real. Yeah, well, you need to take the damn time out and do a lot of this shit, what I did, to promote the business. The only thing, right, promote, advertise, and I've been trying to look at the marketing part. Because I actually, to help me save time, I need somebody else to do the stuff that I'm doing, company-wise. If the finances was running the way I wanted in that sense, yes, I can do it. Eventually, I am going to have to do it. But you try to work stuff as much as you can. Then when it gets to that point, it's like, no, I'm going to have to pay somebody else to do it. But for the most part, most people do their own stuff. I'm not real good with the broadcasting. That's why I need a whole team to do my broadcast network. And I say this, my live streaming. I say this, I need a cameraman. I need somebody to monitor everything, if you get me. That's why I need a broadcast network. I tell y'all that. Rather than people saying, let's go over and help them with this and that, or help them get it up, where I'm stuck at, you can help me go to that next level. But because y'all don't want to see it go there, right? Or see me succeed, that's your thing. Because if it's God's will, and I believe it is, I'm going to succeed anyway. Oprah Winfrey didn't get there overnight. Donahue didn't get there overnight. The rest of them didn't get there overnight. They had to start somewhere, right? I was sitting up here, Candy, thinking about when me and Archie and us was doing the radio show over at WOLB. I was thinking about all that. So sometimes people start out like small like that, and as they begin to grow and they branches out. Now, if you want to be a part of that, that's fine. If not, that's fine too. Come on, Candy, where you at? Sound like you out in the woods somewhere.
I'm here. I have to be, hold on a second. I have to be quiet.